Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you joining us from around the world. I'm Josh France here in the RIEGL LiDAR studios. I'm joined by Tyler and Tanner. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, Travis.
Hello, everyone.
We're going to have a LiDAR roundtable discussion about our new RIPROCESS software. So we have a lot of new features that came out this last May, not that long ago for many of us. And we've been busy trying them out during summer vacation. And we want to give you a quick wrap up of all the new features, how they work, some of our ideas behind them, some hints. Maybe it will help you use them better. And you give us some great feedback. And of course, reach out and request a demo license or two.
Yeah.
Try them out.
So Josh, what was your favorite new feature of the software?
Well, I've been really excited for a long time about the panorama gap fill for the ladybug imagery. A user came up with that suggestion about a year or so ago, and I was like, that's a really cool idea. Thankfully, the team in Austria, especially Dr. Torkelsbauer, put pen to paper and made it happen. So it's a really good feature. How about you?
Obviously, super excited about automatic camera calibration. It's been a long time request from a lot of users.
That's right.
To not have to manually calibrate ladybug imagery, especially. So excited to show people how to use the tool as well as some tips and tricks to get success out of it. Tyler, what's your?
I've really enjoyed the new RIEGL processing in 1.98, as well as the new viewer. Processing is a lot simpler even than it was before. You actually have to press less buttons. So any of you fans of RiScan, it's got to be a lot more similar to that. In the new RiView, it's 64-bit now, so you don't have to, pound your head against the wall when things don't load in automatically. You can actually view a full point cloud, even VMX data, which is great.
Yeah. 1560 did too, I hear, also.
Yeah.
We're going to stay mid-altitude or low altitude and on the ground today.
Yeah, let's keep a little lower.
Keep it a little lower. We're not going to aim that high. All right, so let's get started. Why don't you go ahead, Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. Going to start out, you start with the processing side of things. On RIPROCESS RILOC here. As we jump into it, it's pretty simple, really. You first just jump in and, you're into your standard RIPROCESS loading screen. Of course, I always like to check to make sure my reference system is good to go. This is actually just a site we did in the Pacific Northwest up in actually Portland, Oregon. So I'm glad to show off this data set and just kind of show you how to work through it. But really, when I say it's a couple easy steps for any RIScan users, it's about the same. Where we first jump in, open our tools, and we first jump into our trajectory processing, where we
Makes sense.
where we have our trajectory loaded up. We then select our actual base station data, where we'll then automatically download our ephemeris data. Nice thing about this, and I kind of want to show you, is we jump into both two different options, from multi-rotor aircraft all the way to mobile, with even the new VMY1 and VMY2. Which is exciting. And here then we'll select our automatic antenna, which we've already measured out. Steps 2 through 4, of course, are your normal processes where we're going to do all the card extraction, we're going to do all the registration around create a view preparation. Step 5, of course, is we're jumping into RIPROCESS. This is all of our planar adjustments as well as adjusting our trajectory to better fit our point cloud. Nice thing about this is it is an automatic step. We don't need to actually go through anything extra. We can do this all in sequence. And same.
This is just using the data from the system itself, right?
Correct. Yeah, and we have a couple options in here to look at. As from ULS RILOC E to RILOC F, different options there. And we already have the option of high accuracy versus high speed, which is of course nice for some of the users that just need to see what they have first place. So we can just go through here and blast through and go through. Of course, our antenna adjustments, we always want to have a fixed one if we can. This is pre-measured out and actually put into the IMU itself.
But it'll also create an estimate too?
Correct, yeah. We're going to create a full estimate as well as adjust everything to better fit the whole point cloud. And from here, we have our 5 steps selected. I'm going to go ahead and actually do a bonus here with our point cloud cleanup.
Whoa, that's available for everyone, by the way.
Correct, yeah. So this is really useful for anything with spectral reflection. You might be scanning over water for any of our bathy users. For any rain you might collect. So what's going to happen is it's going to select all your points to the nth degree, And any sort of noise you might have due to solar rays, rain, it'll actually automatically filter all those out. So no more need for automatic hand cleaning anything else anymore.
So do you recommend running this pretty much every time you have a project? Is there much time add to running it?
No, it really only adds a couple seconds.
Okay, nice.
If you have super complex data, it really doesn't add that much either.
Cool.
It's really worth it to make a cleaner point cloud.
Absolutely.
And we can then select we're going to run it before our RIEGL because we want to have a clean enough point cloud that when it picks those planar surfaces, that it's not going to automatically collect a point that's way up in the air that we don't want. From here, all we have to do is actually hit the next arrow, and we're going to go ahead and process everything out.
Great.
So you run RIEGL, run everything all at once.
Correct. Yeah.
Not running in steps. Great.
No.
Yeah.
Make it easy as possible.
Right.
And if you do this enough, I believe you can even set up a batch mode to just turn the crank every time you get new data.
Yeah, you can.
All right.
So simple as clicking some buttons and watching it go.
It really is. We try to make it easy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a quick project if you want to jump through the beta viewer.
Yeah, absolutely.
While we're talking about the new versions and you're excited about the beta viewer, so why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. And don't have you guys sit through and watch all the progress part of the courses. We've all seen that happen before. But the nice thing about the new beta viewer is, like Josh said, is you can actually render a full point cloud. This is just a 2D mode. And the nice thing is it automatically drags into your actual location. So you don't have to worry about finding it on a map necessarily. You can load in more than one project as well. So you can see where all these line up with each other. Very cool new mode is you actually can view the 2D and 3D mode at the same time. And as Josh said, we can actually view in the live time. Mm-hmm. So this full, I believe is what, VMY?
Yep, VMY2
data set. We're actually able to view into this point cloud without any sort of lag that you might have from before.
And before you point out, it does work with the VMX data that's much denser.
Yes, yeah. I've done it with the 120 data. It works great.
I could sense there was a question out there that was going to hit me. I'm like, hey, what about my VMX? Yeah, don't worry, it's fine.
But yeah, and then of course we have our different modes over here for what do you want to look at?
Yeah, so to me this is actually the biggest advantage because I feel like we were already kind of king with the amount of options we had to view data sets in different ways. And I feel like they took what we already had and blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
I mean, the list here is what we have is incredible.
Yeah. So I mean, right now this view that you opened up is a mix of both height and reflectance data.
Correct. Yeah.
So I love that view because it just makes the data, I think, pop a little bit better because it gives that second level of contrast.
Especially when you start classifying things out, you can have that reflectance in your classified points at the same time to actually view those details in classification as well.
I tried that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that a lot, especially for a lot of our airborne data.
Mm-hmm.
As we go in, like I said, everything's in live time, so I can come in here and
zoom really far.
Zoom way. If I want to see, cross section of a roadway,
Oh yeah, the live cross section tool.
It's great. We can actually view things in live time, make it wider, skinnier.
Yeah. See someone did not run any filters on this.
No. It's fine. But even you can see, we're getting.
It's hard to complain about that data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even if we come over to our curves, I can't complain too much about that.
Mm-hmm.
But as always, we can come in and we can view things all in live time.
Yeah.
My favorite, not to plug my own self, but I did a LinkedIn video not that long ago where we actually looked at using the standard deviation filter. So if you run the point normals across the point cloud, it actually will give you a standard deviation between the points themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's like super easy to catch any misalignment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, trees and whatnot will look interesting, but with the full 3D viewer, it's way easier to view it. Point cloud separation versus our old way of doing 2D plots. So I would make sure everyone checks that out. At least asks how to do that. It's important.
And just because I know with the question of where is it, because if you add here, like you traditionally do for a view, it's just the same viewer that you're used to. But if you right click on this, you have the beta viewer option, and then it preloads the RIE viewer instructions and gives you actually a manual to tell you a little bit about all the behind the scenes features that you may not know about. And we don't have time to cover today.
Yeah. You get away the scavenger hunt. Let people try to find it.
I should say to answer those emails as they forward to you. All right, so that's the RIE viewer. I think now we're on the exciting new tools that are coming out for mobile.
Yeah, sorry for anyone else, but that was the drone stuff, and I think those mobile guys are going to take it over a little bit here because we have a lot of new exciting software updates on the mobile side and the recent version. So
Yeah, so where should we start? We got 2 camera things, so it would make sense to do order of operations. You got to calibrate your camera before you do any export of camera data. So let's jump right in there. Just give us a second to navigate.
So the first step by finding the tool is actually going to the same place you already are calibrating your cameras, and that's the camera device mounting wizard. The corresponding tie points section is the same way you're currently doing it, but we also have 2 options to do it via black and white targets, which I personally actually haven't had a chance to try out. And then we have the newest version, which is my favorite, which is the feature matching, where it takes your existing imagery and will calibrate it based off those images. So your first step is basically select the cameras you want to calibrate. So for this example, I use the Ladybug 6. You then just navigate to pick the record you want. There is some, I would say, goodwill into picking out good data to calibrate your cameras off of.
Absolutely.
You don't want a ton of vegetation. You don't want flat, plain fields. You want vertical surfaces.
Absolutely.
I would even almost stay away from just using poles. So if you could drive a site that has vertical buildings, even if you're just driving that street to use the calibration, it's applied to the rest of the data. And it's going to save you so much time in the background. So I've already pre-picked a few records that I know for a fact have vertical surfaces. This is downtown Winter Garden where our office is. If you click on the images as well, this record has 66 images. I can have it go through and search all 66 and pick the best ones. But you can come in here and actually pick the images yourself. So you see that's a very clear vertical surface, no trees. That's a great image for calibrating camera data. So I can come in here and I can manually pick the camera images we want to use. Yeah. For this, I just decided to keep everything the same.
Well, it makes sense because it's a smaller record, right?
Yep. Settings, I would leave most of this stuff manual. The more adjustments you added, the more images you added, the longer it's going to take. So there is a cost sync fallacy there. And obviously there was a report button. The really important part I want to note here is this course image registration. So this will auto do where it flips your camera to its correct orientation via the point cloud, which is very nice. However, I've seen if you use it when you already have a good calibration or a good course calibration, it'll actually make your calibration worse.
Absolutely.
So if you've already done a decent course calibration, you've already moved your camera to the right orientation, I actually would recommend turning this off and then running it, because then the system knows it's in the right orientation. It can then just run all the adjustments. It's not worried about trying to flip the camera around.
And I would also add, if you have your camera is welded in place, it never changes its XYZ position relative to the reference point. Lock the position.
Yeah.
You don't need that to change. Yep. That's probably not changing from mission to mission anyways, but don't give it extra degrees of freedom to try to find, especially if you're running this the first time maybe.
Yep.
And you already have a pretty good calibration that you're happy with, that you used your Mark 1 eyeball to fix.
Yeah. So we'll let that continue and run. But while that's just kind of going through this, it's a good point in general, is to test these settings with your projects. Don't run it once and see bad results and then never use it again. Look at what you're doing, change things around, maybe even annoy Josh and I with an email. So right now there's just using some editing magic to make it look like it, is calibrating it very fast. This process usually takes about 10-15 minutes, I would say, with a normal record. But it's magically finished, and it does produce a report that will show you basically just some quick results of what the calibration looks like. So we have a nice little picture there that shows the point cloud aligned with the building I picked. And it's just some general statistics. I personally don't really use a lot of this to QA/QC it. I like QA/QC it myself, of course. So that's usually done. I first will pull an image up of the record that I used to calibrate the image to make sure it worked there. So it didn't work there, it's not going to work on any of my other records.
Yeah. Good point.
So I do just a quick little look at seeing how well the point cloud aligns with those buildings. And as you guys can see, that's on money automatically. You can't complain about that. Though someone might figure out a way to, but I think that's pretty good.
That's not challenged.
Yeah. So I'm going to check a few of these, and then what I'm going to do next is actually navigate to a different record. So I'm going to pick an adjacent record that I didn't use to calibrate the camera imagery and check the calibration there. So.
That's a very good point to do that.
Yeah.
And like Tanner said, if you're starting to use this tool and you have a problem or it doesn't work right and you have some questions, please reach out to us before you get frustrated and throw the tool away forever.
Yes.
This is a free tool, by the way.
So you'll see here, so you'll see this actually is an adjustment from the adjacent street. So this is a record that was not used in calibration at all, and actually a completely different lens than I used earlier as well. And the calibration is spot on from those angles as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call this very satisfying camera calibration.
Yeah.
So QA/QC data, right?
Yeah. How long did you say this probably took to run?
About 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes.
But yeah, just wrapping everything up, that's kind of the overview on the camera calibration tool. Just in noting, people should use it. Like you said, it's free part of the update. And if they have feedback, they should email us because I'd be interested to hear the settings they ran. So, but I think the next part we move to, we calibrated the camera data. Now what do we do with said calibrated camera data, Josh?
Yeah. So we do a lot of things with it, and this does start the paywall, so to say, or the what else would you call it?
Bonus features.
Yeah, bonus features.
Yeah, there you go.
Paid bonus features. Anyways, there is a license required for these, but of course we do offer very sincerely trial licenses for 30 days. We test it out, see how you like it before you purchase. So reach out to us, we'll get them to you, no problem. So auto panoramic images, the autofill. So what this does is it fills in the gap, right? We've talked about having it in our software almost a year now, but we went from concept to making it, to testing it, to making it real within that timeline and incorporating into the package that is RIPROCESS. So really what you do here is you pick a record that you want to bring it into. So we're going to say record 3. You highlight the cameras you want to include. So it's just the Ladybug cameras for this example. You do have the option to use your pavement cameras as well if you want to use those. And you can have it rebuild the panoramic images, which is what I suggest you do. That seems to work better. Then you basically back up the original one so that way you don't lose anything in case it doesn't work right or someone wants to see both. And then you just basically let it auto adjust the resolution there. It's going to pick that one. And then you can either do a geometric adoption or none. I always recommend doing a little bit of one. You want it to try to use the geometric adoption. So it cleans up the parallax. And if you're not super big into parallax and what that means, that's basically when you look at Google Earth and you can immediately tell that the camera's images were stitched together because there's like a jump discontinuity in the building that is not really there. And it's not it's not Harry Potter where there's a fake house in between them and you just can't see it. And the camera almost saw it. No, not that. That's called parallax. So then it runs. And I didn't mean to click OK there, but so that runs in the background. Let me show you the results from some of those. So right here, we'll just pick one here. This is again from downtown Winter Garden. And you can see it's brick, so it kind of looks all the same at the bottom there. But there normally there's a vehicle in the way here, and now you can see you're fully filled in. Advance the next one here.
Zoom all the way out.
Okay. There we go. Nice. So you can see a couple samples here. This necessarily was not collected in mind for doing the gap fill. So to make this area even better, you can either use pavement cameras, and really that's not bad at all because that's totally filled in from images that are 30 plus feet away.
Yeah.
Forward and backwards of that. With car traffic going by, it's not like we had a closed course here. It was a low traffic hour, as you can see from this image. But sometimes cars get in the way, as you all know. So if you want it absolutely low, almost no parallax, definitely take advantage of using the pavement cameras to help fill that in. So that's real quick on the gap fill.
Yeah.
I think it's a really great tool. There's going to be contracts out there that call it. It's a great way to tell your clients about it because now this looks like Google Earth when you deliver these as panel images.
Yeah, looks really good.
Yeah. So great tool there. All right, Tanner, I think you got some other camera tools you wanted to talk about as well.
I do. So to just take back over, Josh kept mentioning the fun word of pavement cameras. And we've had pavement cameras here at RIEGL USA. We've tested them, and wanted to just share a quick video on running the tool as well as some results. If any of this looks like deja vu from my last webinar, it's basically the same content. We just, people aren't buying the software, so we have to keep showing it, right? Jokes aside, this will all be found within a new wizard called the Ortho Image Wizard. So you just go to Tools and you run it. So I selected the pavement cameras for this test as well as a few records to run on the data. So you'll see that I selected the camera, selected my record. I'm going to hit next. Of course, got to set my coordinate systems for the export for the JPEGs. Most of these settings can be left as default. They're just like standard resolution of the imagery, and as well as your time domain for the images. So you want that to at least match your point cloud. Showing that there.
All right. Yeah. So it's pretty easy to export.
Yeah.
Any tricks on the georeferencing system that anyone should be cautious about?
Right now, it only works on global systems. Like this was ran on a UTM scenario with WGS. I'm using some hotbars there to name them properly. One important thing here that I am clicking is this combined all data from the project. And what this does is it actually picks adjacent records. So if I have 5 lanes worth of data and I click this, it's going to calculate each of those lanes with the imagery from the next lane and actually merge them into one image, which is really nice. So that then, because you're going to have like some weird lighting differences if you do an individual as well as some like blackout spots. So having this click will completely eliminate that.
That's really powerful tool.
What percentage did you run for overlap on these images?
Oh, extremely high. Okay. I don't know the exact percentage, but they were triggered at 4.5 feet.
Okay.
So a lot of images.
Yeah. And that's the goal with the pavement cameras, is to run them around 20 to 24 frames a second, depending on your camera and disk logging system.
So right here, I don't want to use the full field of view of the camera. I just want the pavement. So I'm setting a negative, positive 1.5 meters left and right off the vehicle to just eliminate any of the grass, right-of-way stuff I don't want. The other really fun thing here in data filters, if I've used just a quick little teaser, if I've used the new classification tools, I can actually come in here and tell it to use just the ground point class for calculating the pavement images. So it's not going to be pulling any of the car noise or things like that. It's just using the ground surface for calculating image positions. So if you have a really nice clean point cloud, the tool is going to work even better.
Yeah.
Shocked, I know. Then you just run it. It's just like your right lock. It's a few buttons that run. Just make sure you're hitting the right buttons.
Oh, you baked the cake already.
Yep. So a few examples. This is just what the outsets look like. So you see like just some beautiful images. This is going to pop to a quick PowerPoint that actually shows. So this is 5 different lanes passes all merged into one record. So you can see how clean that looks. There's not any blurring in between the records. That's 5 different passes all merged together with this tool with the same workflow you just saw. It's just clicking buttons. If I really had to add some goodwill here, because I did have this question from a user this week, good things you have to have before running the tool, which is always important to talk about. You have to have a good camera calibration on those pavement cameras. Absolutely. And I almost would recommend running a dedicated mission for calibrating those cameras as well as testing those cameras before you set out on a job to make sure they work. Yeah. And then once those cameras are in position, you don't move them, leave them still, and then you'll be able to run this through and through. So we can see there's another example. So this even gets more extreme because I drove this inside lane, as well as this outside lane. So total, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different passes even outside of a barrier wall on this racetrack. They're all merged together almost seamlessly with just a lot of great detail.
Right. And really this makes it much easier to view all of your end product data.
Right.
Because viewing any of those, I mean, there's thousands of images that are in this one image, which is the real power of the Ortho tool.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can take this and extract from it. You can bring it in. Mm-hmm. You can send it out as a quick visual proof of concept to customers, and they can very easily see what it is you have. You can number things.
I opened and took all these images in QGIS, which is a free GIS software. So it's really easy just to plug and play and check out your entire project from there. So that's kind of the full overview on the pavement cameras.
Yeah, so if you got a pavement job out there that you want to check out our pavement cameras on, we have some in stock now. We're happy to partner up with you. We just want to get a good sample project of help with the use case, right? So how are you going to sell that data forward? I mean, we have some ideas, but of course, we're not daily selling data to clients.
Yeah.
I think we'd be good at it.
Probably.
Yeah, we do it a few times.
Yeah. All right, so final feature of the MLS side is the latest and greatest from the deep learning suite. All right, so here's the deep learning tools. We go to the point classifier, and they're brand new. There's a lot of great options in this, so we'll go over them quickly here. There's 6 different modes that you can run with the MLS. You've got a comprehensive, you've got one for highway, one for urban, and then you also have one for refining that. So you can do just a normal and then a refined one. So you break up in 2 steps. So basically, this is the wizard that pops up to help you figure out your settings. It can auto generate the size. It also does a quick review of whether your graphics card is going to help you get this job done, which is obviously an important note. So if you use the preset defaults, there are no settings to change, you just run it. But I wanted to show you at least where that is. So we're running it on the full data set. We're processing it we're processing it by record or by a laser scanner, doesn't matter. I did it by record because it makes sense to have it all at once. This is VMY data. And each one of these runs that we're going to take a look at today takes about 20 minutes or so. So not really long, but not super short either. And it's a medium-sized project, we'll say. But probably goes on the small side. So it runs in the background and zips through here. So we're going to jump through. And so let's jump ahead to see some results.
So what is it exactly extracting while you're doing this? Because there's, you go through this, there's a lot of different things you can extract. What are we really looking for here?
Yeah, so this tool is classifying ground, of course. It's then going to do buildings. It's going to do vegetation, curb. So the comprehensive does basically anything on the road that you can think of that you would want to put in a separate class. It does that. So it adds it to it. So it's got poles, traffic signs. It tries to distinguish between a power utility pole and a regular pole. It will do overhead wires as well as fences and pavement markings.
Yeah, my favorite 2 have been moving cars.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Stationary cars and people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, living in a world of course, we're on the sales side, and you guys are trying to sell your data too, of having to clean data to make it look nice.
Mm-hmm.
Gone are the days for having to go out and individually classify and pick out the cars. You can just run this and hide them.
This, I would say, it would pay for itself if I was having to make marketing videos all the time or do colorized point clouds about other cars in the data set. This tool would pay for itself immediately because it automatically does it, and it works at the very high percent level because moving cars are the same in Europe as well as in the United States and elsewhere. So
just smaller.
It's just smaller.
Yeah.
We have bigger cars; they're easier to find.
It'll classify everything but an F-150.
So take a look at some results here from that classification routine. So this is part of the deep learning suite. You have to install a separate thing. I'm going to use the classic viewer to see it because it's a little bit easier to get to where I want to go. And I think more people are comfortable with how to load that. So we're just going to look at this quick example here. So you open up your view, you go to your view inspector, and you can right-click on point rules and create point rules from scan data. So this is where it reads through and loads all the different classifications that you just created. And in this set, I've done it for just the essentials and to give us to see the difference between. So we can do a refined thing in the second phase here. So we zoom in here and so we got the ground. So the road surface there is all ground, obviously. So there's less classes. You can see very quickly from this view. It did a pretty good job distinguishing trees. You can also set how far back from the road you want it to grab. So I did about 25 meters or what's that in feet? Sorry, blanking there.
80 feet.
About 80 feet. Yeah, thank you. About 80 feet, which is a pretty good distance. Obviously, in this case, there were more buildings back further, so that's why all those things are in white.
Yeah.
So it all depends what you're going after. My main thing was I wanted to get all the road features really well done. So we can check out another area over here. You can see there's lots of car traffic in this data set. We'll zoom in here and you can see where all the cars are hidden already. Sorry, I hid the parked cars. So you can see them in the 2D because it doesn't hide them there, but it definitely hides them here. So that's that example. Let's jump ahead. So I reran this and we're going to look at the comprehensive solution here. So I ran it again on comprehensive to see, not comprehensive, but rather the
full mode.
The refined. I refined it to close out the ground. So you can see the ground data is on its base point cloud color. It's not ground anymore because it's all been differently classified. So this area, streetscape, it's a downtown area. It's actually all pavement stones and not actual concrete asphalt. So it debated whether it was paved driveway or road surface, which I can see how that would be a confusion step to ask. A quick cross section here and take a look at the data set. Let's talk about some of the classifications. So you can see from this cross section, it did a really good job picking up the curbs. It picked up the building on the outside. It's all building there. There was you can see here, there's actually an outdoor cafe set up here. So it classified it as building rather than curb and sidewalk, which did that right. That's a pretty challenging thing to suddenly find in the data set. This is actually part of the building, but it also looked like it was a street sign as well, and a flowing flag in the breeze.
It was going to be a little tricky.
Yeah, and get confused as a vegetative mark. And they also had pennants running across the street as well for 4th of July, so that also made it challenging as well for it. I was pretty sure they were trees. So overall, I would say this tool is very effective at doing some things. Is it going to 100% classify your data as if you were doing it yourself? No, it's not the objective here. So there's a lot of deliverables I think you can get out of these kind of tools to help improve your workflow and speed up your work, your folks downstream of the data processing team. So you could, for example, export all the road markings immediately from your data set from this classification and just export that point cloud. So how much lighter is your data set going to be, right? So now you have this very small file that you can send to the guys that are doing feature extraction. It's already in the right coordinate frame. It's already part of your main data, and they don't need to wait on you to colorize or do anything else because the road markings are going to be very clean because of our reflectance data. And that's just a small idea that I have on how it would be effective. Yeah. Again, deep learning tools, if you have good classified data in our software and you want to help us clean up and make our algorithm even better, please reach out to us. Let us know you've got a great data set that has a lot of potential for a classification aid. We'll be happy to talk about how to get that data in the right format to help train our model and improve it for all of your fellow RIEGL users and yourself.
And this works for both mobile and for airborne data. So if we have any good airborne data sets or customers out there, we'd be glad to test it and run through as well.
Yeah. I think it's important to note that this is a new tool and that we're looking to improve it. Yeah. So, future updates, we hope that it just keeps getting better and better. Hopefully people can find usefulness in the first edition, but we want to make it better.
Yeah, so, geez, what else are we forgetting here? I feel like we're forgetting something. There's a lot of new updates that came out in 1.97 and 8, but I think we covered the basics from the release. So, great new updates, I think, overall. I'm really happy with it. I think the viewer pays for itself right there. That's price of admission is for the viewer.
Yeah.
Gives you a lot of new options for making great screen captures. There's probably going to be a way to make a video in it at some point. I just don't know how to do that yet. Is it there? Have you found it?
I have not found it yet. To be honest, there's so many new buttons that I personally haven't had a chance to go through and mess around with them. So
yeah, I mean, I've clicked them all. I don't know if I'm using them correctly. I don't click that. Let's see here. What else do we want to cover? I think that's about it. All right.
So thanks, guys, for the time. I feel like that was really, really productive. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the new features. Just to wrap things up, if you have questions about the new features, of course, we mentioned it several times. It's pretty easy to find our email addresses. Please reach out. But you can also leave them in the chat here, and we'll dedicate some time to answering them and making sure you get all the information you need.
Yeah. We like working with our customers and collaborating. A lot of these tools came from your suggestions, so thank you for that. They were really good suggestions. I know there's a lot of other suggestions that you each individually or collectively have shared with us. I promise you, they've not been forgotten yet. There's order of operations here. The team over in Austria is working very hard and diligently to make the software better every day. So if your specific feature that you can't wait to see in our data is not in this version, don't lose hope. It's coming. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Hey, good morning, afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in, everyone. Wanted to thank everyone for attending as well as being here for these questions. Wanted to apologize for the technical difficulties. We did see that little bit of lag there at the end. I can promise you that section did not have a lot of technical information. It was mainly just us wrapping up the webinar. So we want to just jump in with some of the quick questions that were asked during the webinar, as well as open the floor to anyone still around to ask more questions on the new software updates. So the first one was asked if RISCAN Pro data from static systems can be brought into the new viewer in RIPROCESS. There has been a workflow in the past to get static data into RIPROCESS. However, the workflow we recommend to people is actually doing it the other way around. You take your, either airborne, mobile, or UAV data and bring it into RISCAN Pro. The workflow is a little more solid with that workflow. So.
Yeah, no, great answer. We see that all the time with people kind of combining our data sets for full areas, often around it. I guess another question is, in the 2D maps, are other data sources allowed, such as shapefiles, KMZs, or WMS? Currently, no. Right now, it's just pulling in a street view. But we are in kind of early releases of stuff. But yeah, right now it's just in street view.
We also have a question about georeferencing of the images. All images you're pulling out of RIPROCESS, both with the gap fill tool we showed today, as well as the JPEGs, or for the ortho photo, are coming out as georeference. So yeah, they come out. You pick the coordinate system you want to export to, and of course you want to match your point cloud to that. So we have another question about the ortho images. If they're coming out as individual frames or one combined image. At the moment, they're coming out as individual framed JPEGs that are in sections. I have personally done combining with the rasters, but I would usually pull them into a third-party software, like I did for this project. It was QGIS I used to make a full raster.
Yeah, no. And then for VZ series and radar mode, can deep learning be used to remove anything moving in the data sets?
We, I believe, have not tested that yet, but based on the deep learning tools, it should be applicable in the future. If you have a VZ that's working in mobile mode in RIPROCESS, what I would do is actually reach out and ask for a demo license, and you can run that on your data with a demo license to make sure it works before. So
yeah, and like we said, glad to get some demo licenses just for testing, see if it works for you before you even purchase anything. And for all of this, we'll make sure to provide a copy of this webinar in full presentation. Everything will be publicly available, especially on our YouTube page.
We have another question about some of the basically behind running the auto calibration tool, as well as basically manually selecting versus using a full record. If you use a full record, what RIPROCESS does is, let's say you have 100 images, it's going to go through and look and try to pick out the best of those images. Personally running it, though, I've ran into times where it will pick images with a lot of vegetation, trees. So to avoid that, if you have an area that has a lot of dense, complex scanning going on, I would then go through and manually pick the images you want. I would pick probably up to 30 with a few different cameras to make sure. With the number of radiations, you also run that through. I have found the default is set to 5. I have found a lot of luck moving up to 10. It does extend the amount of time the process takes to run. So we have another question about the deep learning tools, depending on which system you're running. Right now, most of the deep learning tools are set up to basically run for mobile and airborne only. There's actually 2 separate modules for airborne and mobile at this time. I know in this webinar we only showed off the mobile version, but we do have it available for airborne. So if you're interested in trying those out, like we said before, demo licenses are available for anyone interested. So,
and all of our airborne works for really any of the scanners for Bucks 120 and up, just because the data density is going to be there to pull anything out.
Right. We have another question because we didn't cover airborne while we're on airborne again. All these features can be used for airborne LiDAR. The ortho tool really hasn't been tested to my knowledge. It's mainly for mobile applications, but I feel like the field of view of the camera on airborne would be so large that the tool probably wouldn't enjoy running it. But the RIEGL you saw before also works with airborne data from a 1560 or really any of the platforms, and it runs really, really well. Other than that, the only thing really new for airborne would have been the ALS classification tools. Like I said, if you're interested in checking them out, just reach out and we'll get you a demo license.
And like you said before, with the RIEGL, using the actual standard deviation is a great way to check your data for everything airborne.
Yep. Let's see. We'll give one more minute here for more questions. I'll cover one last one. Someone was asking about the actual megapixels for the pavement cameras. In the example that you guys saw in the webinar, those were 12 megapixel JPEG compression cameras from RIEGL. The tool also works with the 5 megapixel pavement cameras that are on the older series of scanners.
Absolutely. I think from what we're seeing, that's our time today, guys. If you have any more questions, just reach out to me or Tanner, and we'll make sure to have this recording up for you guys. Go back on, rewatch, and make sure to reach out. I'm glad to answer any questions, get any demo licenses, and test all this out.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.